games to one lead with a bounce back in a huge way and receiving a standing ovation.
The Thunder looking to take a commanding 3-games-to-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals against the Warriors tonight. But Golden State will have to do something they haven't done all season, which is lose back-to-back games. The Warriors will have Draymond Green, who was fined, but not suspended for his kick to the groin of the Thunder's Steven Adams. Stephen A., Game 4, who you got?
Well, I picked the Warriors to win this series in 7 games. There's no way that's going to happen, in my opinion, if they lose tonight. So I have to go with them tonight. I'm not feeling good about it because what I'm seeing from Kevin Durant is something special. Look, Kevin Durant and I obviously had a difference at the beginning of the season. I didn't know we had a difference until he said what he said.
Yep.
We've never had a difference since. I know his brother. His mama's a sweet woman who's been on this show. And I'm here to tell you something right now. Regardless of his moments where he gets on the media or he gets an attitude or whatever the case may be, Kevin Durant is one of the best people you'll ever see in professional sports. He's got his head on right. He's smart. He's decent at his core. He's a good person. And I'm here to tell you something right now. He is a superstar. And the one thing that is a question mark about him is that chip, getting that chip. LeBron stood in his way, and LeBron tends to stand in his way in big moments. And I still believe Cleveland is going to the finals. Kevin Durant right now looks like the best player in the world. He's played better than Steph Curry in this series. He's played better than LeBron James has played. For the most part, he's had some relatively pedestrian games, but for the most part, when he explodes, he has exploded. Kevin Durant has been special. Steph Curry obviously got hurt in the first round against Houston, was still recovering in the second round against Portland. But Kevin Durant, from a consistent perspective, has been the best player in the world. I go so far as to say, Skip, that if I had to pick between him and LeBron right now in terms of starting a team, because Mike asked me that this morning, it would be Kevin Durant because he's a better shooter. Okay? With all of that being said, this is his moment. And I think that Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors have the capability to neutralize that. But it would have to be tonight. Steph Curry is the reigning 2-time league MVP. And often I have been asked this question. You make so much noise about him. He's the best shooter in the world, blah, blah, blah. So Stephen A., what if he got in some trouble? What's going to happen then? Golden State is in trouble now. It is code red. You don't win this game. I do not believe that the Golden State Warriors are coming back. It's not because of the 3-1 deficit, because we've seen comebacks from that in the past. I am talking about these dudes. Because, Skip, do you know anybody that has raved about Russell Westbrook more than me?
No.
This dude is the most vicious, ruthless competitor in the NBA, which Allen Iverson reminds me of every chance he gets. This dude, Russell Westbrook, is something special as well. And I don't know if anyone notices. Look at his eyes. Look at what he does the second Steph Curry is standing in front of him trying to defend him. I mean, he goes at this dude like nobody goes at Steph Curry. If Oklahoma City manages to go up 3-1 in this series and Golden State has to win 3 in order to beat OKC, Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, I just can't see it.
Yep.
So the only shot to me that the Golden State Warriors have of defending their crown is to win tonight. And I have to believe in the character of this team and say, I'm going to pick Steph Curry and them to win tonight, but I also want to do that with a caveat. Not just about the greatness of Durant and Westbrook, but we about to find out about Steve Kerr, too. Because Billy Don, it wouldn't be a big deal if it was just about Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. But when you see Steven Adams and Enes Kanter hurting you one game, and then Serge Ibaka is at the 5 and you go small the next, that's coaching. And we're watching a guy in Billy Donovan that has evolved before our very eyes and is showing us all that Sam Presti probably made the right call in bringing this two-time national championship coach from Florida on board. It's because of that that I say that about Steve Kerr. It's not that Steve Kerr isn't doing his job. It's that Billy Donovan looks so exceptional in doing his. Steve Kerr now has to come up with an answer for this. What are you going to do to answer what Billy Donovan is throwing at you? Because he's not consistent. He's throwing different looks at Golden State every time you turn around, Skip. What answer is Steve Kerr going to have for that? That is the question. And tonight we need to find out. Golden State can't lose tonight. They lose tonight, it's over. It's over.
So, I have been so wrong about this series so far, mostly because I got so over-emotional about my Spurs falling apart against these Thunder that I must be honest, I don't have great conviction about tonight.
That's
because
fair.
my heart keeps telling me, stick with Golden State for every case you just made. Because over the last 2 seasons, Golden State in this moment will rise and shine. This is kind of when you start to write them off, you better look out because Steph Curry will say no. And remember, this is not a great analogy, but last year in the playoffs, they were down 2-1 with Game 4 in Memphis. Remember that? Now, Mike Conley Jr. was hobbled. He was a little beat up. But that night, Steph said no. And Memphis got Steph at home, and that series basically was over that night. But they were in some trouble there, down 2-1 with another game to go in Memphis. That showed me a lot of Steph's character and this team's character that I think you'll see on display tonight. But now we're back to what my head keeps telling me. My head keeps saying that Oklahoma City will continue to impose its will the way it did the other night. And there's a little icing on top tonight, a little hot sauce on top, if you will. I think all the psychological motivation off Draymond being in the starting lineup and not getting suspended is with the Thunder. They're going to feel like they got wronged here. They got done wrong. And trust me, their fans will be in full throat about how they got done wrong.
No question.
Not that Draymond.
Those fans are great, by the way. I got to give credit where credit is due.
In there.
Oklahoma City, being in that arena, I ain't too keen on being downtown.
Yeah. Hey,
but in that arena, it's big time.
Explode.
It's big time.
And Draymond's going to hear it, not that he has rabbit ears or thin skin, because he does not. But they are going to be all over him, and they're going to be all over Golden State, and they are going to be pro-Thunder. Now, you know and I know the momentum of these things can shift like that spring weather in Oklahoma City can shift. You can have a tornado one moment, and all of a sudden it's 85 degrees, windless and sunshine the
Just
next.
like here.
Yeah, well, it can be. And so this could happen tonight, but I don't see it because of the Kevin Durant factor. And I'm with you. And I had one big issue with Kevin Durant a few years back, and without going into the gory detail about that, we have reconciled. We have... I like him a lot.
Kevin Durant's a good guy.
You know what?
Man.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
And right before your very eyes this year, I see him growing up as the leader of this team. I'm talking about the unquestioned leader of this team. I know Russell is the quarterback, and he's the guy with the ball in his hands for the most part. But I'm seeing real maturity in both of them, but especially in Kevin, that will manifest itself again tonight in ways that you talk about. Is he that guy you would build around? There have been 4 or 5 times a game over the last 10 games of these playoffs where Kevin Durant will make a shot where I'll say, that's just unguardable. Because he is so, I don't know how long. Is he 7'5" length?
Listen.
It's unbelievable.
6'11". Yeah. I don't want to hear the 6'9" stuff.
I know.
I've stood right next to him. Kevin Durant is no 6'9".
Yeah.
Kevin Durant's about 6'11", and the wingspan's about 7'6".
Yeah.
And he's got a handle and can pull up from 30. Hey, and there's nothing to talk about there. There's nothing to talk about.
Sort of semi-break the other night when they had him on the run, and Kevin just dribbles the ball up the floor and just pulls up and just drains it. And it was over, man. It was like game over.
Here's the beauty of it. We marvel at the greatness of Steph Curry, and he is great. He's the greatest shooter I've ever seen in my life. But Kevin Durant said something very, very profound the other day, and we all know it, but we never really say it because we don't think about it because we marvel at the shot makes that Steph Curry does. Kevin Durant said he makes a lot of bad shots. Very simple. But think about how if you know the game of basketball, it's very, very complicated. Because on one hand, you want to give a cat respect for what he accomplishes, averaging 30, making the shots that he makes, etc. But the flip side to it is that you can't game plan for it because a lot of stuff breaks down and Steph Curry just comes to the rescue. But he's also taking shots that you normally are not supposed to take. Coaches usually have a heart attack, and there are players who would get benched just for taking those shots, even if they make it. People don't understand that. Steph Curry, the average player would get benched for attempting those shots, even if they made it. You wouldn't get a chance to make 5 or 6
the coaches
or 8.
think the guy should be drug tested.
That's right.
What happened?
That's
you're
what
out of your
happens.
mind.
And so when Kevin Durant made that point, then, okay, you got to juxtapose that to a Kevin Durant. And what do we see? We see a guy fully capable of making perimeter shots because Kevin Durant is an elite shooter. But he shoots the right shots. He doesn't take a lot of – he takes contested shots, but for him, he's 6'11" with a 7'6" wingspan, so it's not that contested. Kevin Durant actually takes better shots. So you got to look at it from that perspective, and then that makes you understand and appreciate his greatness even more because he's playing within the confines of a structured system but still showcasing his greatness as opposed to having to go outside of the system in order to do it, which should elevate our level of appreciation for what he brings to the table.
Final point. When Golden State resorted to its what's called death lineup, its small lineup the other night, which usually saves them because nobody else can deal with it, Donovan said, okay, watch this. I'll go small. I'll play only Ibaka. As good as Cantor is, as good as Adams has been, I'll just go with Ibaka and my group, and I'll put Waiters in there with my 2 superstars.
Yes.
And guess what happened? Golden State got run off the floor. That's a bad sign for Golden State. So
not just Ibaka, Dion Waiters.
That's what I say, I mean, he's been really good.
Well, you know, and not only that,
you
ready for this prediction? If they make it to the finals, and it's Cleveland, because we don't know anymore if it's going to be Cleveland, Dion Waiters will play even better against Cleveland.
Yeah, he would.
Because he never felt like he was treated right there. Watch out.
It all goes down in Skip's hometown. Tomorrow's show is going to be fun, and we'll react to all of that. But we also have a series in the East, as Stephen A. just alluded to. So last night, Drake cheered his Raptors to a Game 4 win. How much trouble is his buddy LeBron in now that the series is tied 2-2? We get into it next.